Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Tonya, and today we're doing a little bit of a twist on our standard reading vlog. I'm heading to Gatlinburg for some much needed R&R and thought I would take you along with me and we would do a reading vlog down at the cabin in Gatlinburg. So we're just getting ready to leave. It's about a 4.5-hour drive. And then once I get to the cabin, I'll show you the cabin and then we'll talk about the books that we're gonna read this week. So we did make it down to Gatlinburg. We got all checked in. I'll insert a little tour of the cabin here. And it's just so beautiful down here. You're like out in nature, in the mountains. And I love it every year that we're able to come. But now we're just gonna kind of get settled, go get some dinner. And then when I come back tonight and do start reading, I'll update you on the books that we are reading and catch up more with you then. All right, so I am back from dinner and just kind of settling into the cabin for the night and thought I would talk about the book that I'm currently reading. So right now on my Kindle, I am reading A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly by Sophia St. Germain, and I'm about 68% of the way through. Really been enjoying it so far. We're following Lucia, who is a half-elf, and she was forced into a blood bond with the Elven King for a crime she had committed. And because of this, she's been living in a city of mostly humans. There are some other half-elves and some elves that do live there. But the city is predominantly human. Because of her blood bond, she owes a favor to the king and he can call it in at any time. And she's been living in this city, kind of building up her presence in it, putting on a kind of face of like a party girl, flippant kind of facade for everyone in this particular town. She owns a few taverns and has kind of built herself up that way, but she's been basically hiding her true identity. And half-elves are looked down upon. They're not, in favor with the Fae or in favor with the humans. And some half-Fae have powers and some don't. Lucia does have powers. She can basically bend someone to her will by them looking into her eyes, and she's been keeping that power hidden except from her closest friends in the city. She doesn't want anyone else to know about it because she fears that as soon as people find out, they'll either try to manipulate her into using her power or they'll be afraid of her for it. So it ends up the Fae King does call in this favor that's owed to him through the blood bond, and he tells Lucia that she has to enter the election for the next regent of the city because there's some things that have been going on that he hasn't liked and he wants her to gather information on it. So in this book, there is kind of with this election, there's kind of some trials that go on, like there's certain tasks that they have to complete and they have to participate in debates. And some of the trials are pretty strenuous and, just rough, hard. There's a chance you won't survive, but it is a pretty intense trial system. So that's where I am now. She's in these trials. They've completed some of the tasks. She's trying to figure out what might be going on, as far as there's been some disappearances and things like that. So she's trying to get to the bottom of that. And then the current regent, Locke, also participating in these elections. And he's kind of a love interest. It's not 100% clear if there might be another one. Her guard's name is Merrick, and they have something going on, whether it's going to be a friendship or something else. I'm not 100% sure yet, but that's kind of where I am in the book. I've been really liking it so far. The magic system is kind of unique. There's both elemental magic and there is some mind magic as well, but that's not as common. And that's kind of what Lucia has, is more on the mind magic side of powers. The other ones are like water manipulators, fire, things like that. So true elemental kind of powers. But yeah, really enjoying it so far. And I have I think it says 2 hours left. So hoping to finish it up either tonight or tomorrow. And then at that point, I'm going to start on my next book, which is the Book of Autumn. And I don't know how much I'm actually going to get read because like I said, I'm down here in Gatlinburg on vacation and we got some fun things planned. So, my reading time's going to be limited probably to at night. But yeah, I'll bring you along for the week and show you what we're doing here in Gatlinburg and let you know my thoughts on the books too. So just a little reading update. I did finish A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly last night, and for me it was around a 3.75 to a 4-star. Overall, it was really entertaining. The book moved pretty fast. I like the characters in it and the writing in it as far as the conversations went and the descriptions. But I will say what I did not enjoy quite so much is there was some things at the end that were just wrapped up too easily. There's no way they should have worked. And now it still did end on a cliffhanger, but there was a couple of plot points where just basically poof, they were resolved, yet they had been this big issue throughout the whole rest of the book. So that part I wasn't too keen on. I thought it could have been explained out or even left unresolved until the next book, since it is a series. But, it was just one of those things where I felt like there wasn't any real wrapping up of the plot point. It just was, oh, this is what we did to resolve it. Look how easy that was, when it was not easy. It was a big part of the book. So that part, not too keen on, but the rest of it, the characters, the other parts of the story, the world they were in, enjoyed all of that. So I will be continuing with the series. I'm not in any rush to do it per se, but I would like to read the next book. And then since I finished that one, tonight I'm going to be starting the Book of Autumn, which just loosely, I'll go into more detail later, but loosely it is a dark academia book that is set in New Mexico. And the female main character, her kind of magic has to be done with a partner. So she has some sort of past with this other magician that it seems things went, awry at some point and they went their separate ways. But she needs him in order to do her magic. And it ends up they have to come back together after they've been separated for a while in order to kind of save their alma mater. So that's what I'm going to be starting tonight. I love the title. That's why I picked it in the first place. And I have no idea what it has to do with autumn, but we will find out. Then right now we're getting ready to head off to Anakista, which you take a like chairlift up to it. It's at the top of one of the mountains, and then there's a bunch of little shops up there and like some rope bridges and things where you can walk through the trees and a garden. It's a really cute area. So if you ever do go to Gatlinburg, I would suggest you visit Anakista. It's one of my favorite places down here. But we're going to do that today, and I'll try to get some clips for you, and then, yeah, just bring you along on my day. After we got back from Anakista, which you would have just saw some clips of, I did start The Book of Autumn by Molly O'Sullivan, and I'm not very far into it so far. I'm like 5%, so just, at the beginning of the book. But so far, so good. We're following Sella, or Marcella, but she goes by Sella with a lot of people. And she has been doing kind of odd jobs here and there since she left the university that she had been working at and studying at in New Mexico. And she's just kind of been doing odd jobs and trying to stay away from magic completely, even though magic hasn't been wanting to stay away from her. But something's happened at the school that she used to be at and that she's on the advisory board for. Something's come up with some of the students there, so she's traveled back to kind of help out because they need her particular magical expertise. And all we know so far is that one girl is dead and then another one is quote unquote ill. But from what I can tell, basically she is possessed. She has been levitating, speaking in tongues, just, classic signs of possession. And, we're just kind of trying to learn what's happened at this point. So, like I said, not very far into it. I am sure I will read more tonight. And then once I get a little further along in the book, I'll give you a reading update, and maybe in the morning before I give it to you, but definitely we'll have one coming up once I've read a little more of the book. Hey everyone, happy Thursday. So I don't think I caught up with you again yesterday, but we went on a pretty long hike, and then we did some wine tastings afterwards, and I did do some reading, but I didn't do any sort of check-in. I am now 34% of the way through A Book of Autumn, and it is a little different than how I expected it to be. So there is some talk of just some different kind of religious things within the book, which I enjoy. It's kind of a talk of a religion versus magic. So I found that pretty interesting. There are some darker parts of the book, which I wasn't expecting. I may have got a little scared at parts, which is okay. I think that makes it a good book for, this time of year. But I'm a big baby, so don't take the fact that I got scared as anything that you might find scary as well. But just something to keep in mind if you are a baby like I am when it comes to anything spooky or scary or anything of that nature. It probably doesn't help that I'm in a cabin in the middle of the woods either. So, it's all about perspective. But really enjoying it so far. We're still kind of getting into the meat of the plot. Sella has kind of a lot of baggage that she's dealing with, along with just some things that happen in her personal life, as well as things she's dealing with her partner, Max. So there's a lot of kind of dealing with emotions there, plus they're doing this investigation to kind of figure out why this particular girl brutally murdered, if she did indeed, this other girl. And then, you know, if there was any sort of hex or spell put on her to make her take this action. So really good so far. Hoping to get a little further in the book today. The writing's been done really well. Something else that's kind of unique is there's a lot of footnotes in the book, and it's just the author taking, you know, another chance to have another way to interact with you. So there are a lot of them, but it has added kind of an interesting note to reading the book. So I've enjoyed that as well. But kind of on today's agenda is we are going to go to the aquarium and then go to a place called the Apple Barn for lunch or dinner, whatever time it happens to be. And then I'll be reading some more this evening, and I will catch back up with you then. So I've just been sitting here reading a little more of the Book of Autumn, and at this point I'm still not, I had been really liking the book. There wasn't anything really I didn't like about it, but there's been a couple of things that have started happening that I'm not so sure of. It is set in modern times, and there's a whole lot of talk about social media and people's followers on it, and TikTok, and doing videos and that kind of stuff. And I don't know, that hasn't been my favorite part of the book. Without that, I would say I think I still like the book, but with that, I don't know, it's been a little bit much. So it's taken kind of how much I've enjoyed the book down a notch. But yeah, so also, like, there's still, like, we're 50% of the way through the book, and we haven't even gotten close to, like, a resolution of things or any of Sella's relationship issues with various different people, herself, her past, her partner, her magical partner. None of that's remotely resolved. They're doing this investigation. They haven't really made any progress in the investigation. Like, we're starting to have a couple little leads, but there hasn't been a lot of action going on for us to be 50% of the way through the book. So I don't know if we're going to get to, you know, the last 25% and then it's going to be like a crazy mess, or, you know, if this is just going to be super slow moving the whole time. So I am going to continue to read. We'll see how far I get today. And once I do have another update, I will come back and give it to you. But right now, my enjoyment of the book has started to go down a little bit. So we shall see. So a lot more things have happened at this point, and I'm back to, I think, liking it again. So I guess with this one, you just got to give it some time and work through it. Part of, I think, what was bothering me with this book is Sella, who's our main female character. She's had a really hard past and had a lot of things go on. And her partner, whose name is Max, who, when I say partner, they are halves of each other's magical souls. So they work magic stronger when they work it together than they do when they're separated. Their magic's kind of limited when they're not working together. And they also, because of this connection and just, you know, spending so much time together and, you know, being inside each other's heads and that kind of thing, they had a relationship. And they ended up breaking up for whatever reason. And Sella had went off because she had a lot of other kind of terrible things happen. Her brother died and some other, kind of things happened where her magic went out of control and just a lot of different things. And she ended up moving away from quite some time, but then she'd come back to kind of help Max and her school, with this situation with Danny, who is the student that is kind of now possessed and had killed the other student. So lots of things have now been revealed. It definitely picked back up. I will say, if you do read this book, it has nothing to do with fall. So the reference to autumn is something completely different. I won't tell you what that is, but just know this is not a fun, cozy fall read in any way, shape, or form. It is, parts of it are kind of dark, so that's something else to keep in mind, and just kind of a little creepy or spooky. So it is good for this time of year, but not a cozy fall read in any way, shape, or form. I am now 82% of the way in, and we're really kind of starting to get to, some things going down and getting resolved, and seeing a path to the end. So I'm glad I stuck with it, even though, it had taken that turn. And I still didn't like the whole social media aspect of it. But overall, back to liking it, and then I'll give you another update once I finish. All right, guys, so I just finished A Book of Autumn, and I ended up liking it. I'm still gonna say that it's a 4-star book just because of kind of the issues that I had in the middle, but I did cry at the end. I did like how they tied everything up, and kind of how there was a threads of, what is humanity and what does it mean to be human, and not overlooking the little things in life, and all these kind of different themes in the book. Like I said, not at all what you would think based on the title. Nothing to do with autumn at all. And even when you read the synopsis, even though that doesn't give you any idea that it's, anything to do with fall or anything like that, I will say you also don't get the idea that, there's going to be these darker moments and things in the book, but they were definitely there. So would recommend. I believe this book actually comes out the beginning of October, or if not the beginning, well, actually, let me just check. So I did verify it comes out the end of October, so kind of perfect timing for what the book was about, because it did have some kind of darker elements to it. So would recommend. This is the first book that I have read by Molly O'Sullivan. I'm not sure if she has other books out or if this is a debut, but if you're looking for kind of a spooky, I don't even know, spooky, slightly creepy kind of dark academia, with, also notes of, talking of humanity and religion and different things kind of that nature, then I think you'll like this book. And that is going to be it for this vlog. We finished our two books, A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly and The Book of Autumn. And tomorrow I am driving back home, so have a 4.5-hour drive in front of me. And then, we will catch up in my next video. So take care, keep reading, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.